Hello everybody, starting this video off, I'd like to thank everybody that helps this channel, but this video has happened because someone who knows who they are in the comments kept going, Karen, go and look at this video, go and listen, what do you hear? Now the reason I started to make this video was the fact that a viewer heard, well, what it actually sounds like if you were listening to it, right, with the age of the child and how much of Bella we've heard. And even though it's a bit distant and you've got the babysitter talking, and maybe at that time Chris Watts was being interviewed anyway because she was, but it sounds like Bella and Chris Watts. So that's what the person heard, and they were like, listen to it. So I'm going to play it a couple of times without music. It is a little bit hard to hear, but hopefully you do. And it does sound like Bella with Chris Watts. Anyway, who knows? But leave your comments at the end when you've watched all the video.
I came over to watch them. Noticed that was the same exact thing she was wearing when I came over to watch them. I came over to watch them. Noticed that was the same exact thing she was wearing when I came over to watch them.
And then, of course, when I started listening to it, not only do I hear what they hear, I hear different stuff going on in the interview that basically this person says their age, the whole thing, and it just does not match up with the discovery document. Anyway, and then, of course, someone else helped me, so thank you very much, ladies. Mwah, mwah, to my helpers. Thank you so much for information or helping me. I'm sure a lot of us were babysitting under the age of 16, but as you can see there, it says really not to have anybody below 16, right? The NSPCC is an organisation to protect children. They're stating don't have anybody under the age of 16. But we're going to be looking at McKenna Lindstorm because she was much younger when she was babysitting for the Watts children.
So the recording knows your dad is Jeremy?
Yes.
And Jeremy knows you're talking with me right now?
Yes.
Okay. So we're talking about Chris and Shanann Watts and some responsibilities you might have had for babysitting their children.
Yes.
So how long have you known Chris and Shanann?
My dad used to work with them, and I think I got to meet them when I was around 6 or 7 years old.
So Jeremy is your dad?
Yes.
And who did he work with?
He worked with both of them. They both worked at Longmont Ford. Shanann was a salesperson, and Chris was a mechanic.
Okay. Do you remember when that was?
I would say probably in 2013 or 14-ish. Is when they all worked there at the same time.
And so you think you've known them since 5 or 6 years?
Yeah.
So how long have you known Chris and Shanann?
My dad used to work with them, and I think I got to meet them when I was around 6 or 7 years old. I would say probably in 2013 or 14-ish is when they all worked there at the same time.
And so you think you've known them since 5 or 6 years?
Yeah.
Just like to say, you clearly heard her say that she was 6 or 7 and she'd known them since 2013 and 2014. So that would make her between 10 and 12. So why does she say that, right? And yet the discovery document says that she was 17. This is the discovery document, that she was 17. So, just another anomaly. So, let's recap that. She said when she met them that she was 6 or 7 years of age, and she met them in 2013 to 2014. She's sitting in front of that police officer, right? She's giving the information, right? And there have been some very, very big channels which have put this interview out and didn't notice the difference. Now, we're going to do a little bit of maths, and I'm not very good at maths. But anyway, she said 6 to 7 years, year 2013, 2014. So, we'll take the longer one. We'll take that she was 6 years of age, and it was 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. It's 5 years, means that she was 11. If you take that she was 7 years of age, and it was 2013, that's 7 plus 5, she was 12. If you take the fact that she was 6, and it was the year 2014, she was 10. And if you take that she was 7 years of age in the year 2014, that's 7 plus 4, she was 11. So, listening to her statement there, she was between 10 and 12 years of age, babysitting 2 small children and having to put them to bed on her own for 3-4 hours. And nobody's noticed that she was maybe 10 or 12 years of age, because she says, I met them when I was 6 or 7 and they were working together, because obviously she met them at the garage. Sorry, she met them in 2013, 2014. So can everybody do their maths?
He said I just have to play with them, and then at 7 o'clock lay them down to go to bed. 2 nightgowns, and actually a police officer came over today and they had pictures and they told me to pick out which ones they were wearing.
So they went through that with you. Do you recall what the girls were wearing?
Yes, they were wearing 2 nightgowns, and actually a police officer came over today and they...
Do you recall what the girls were wearing?
Yes, they were wearing 2 nightgowns, and actually a police officer came over today and they had pictures and they told me to pick out which ones they were wearing.
So they went through that with you. And can you just describe them, what they were wearing, if you remember?
They were 2 nightgowns, and I think one was blue, and they just had like little kid like stars and hearts and sparkles and stuff on them.
Okay.
And I think the other one was like a peach color.
Okay. You remember what was on that one?
What's that?
Do you remember what was on that one?
They were kind of similar. It's still like the stars and the...
I have to say that I have gone and looked up the law, right? And it basically says that when you get to the age of 12, you can be employed as a babysitter. At the age of 12. But I mean, 12 to look after 2 little children, and that person goes off and leaves you on your own for hours on your own, and you've never put them to bed before. I just find that quite incredible. I don't think the law's like that in the UK. I think you have to be older, but hey, I just think it's very young, don't you think, to leave 2 children in the care of a 10 to 12-year-old. She's got to be 12. She doesn't sound like 10, does she? But it's still very young, isn't it? Anyway, we're going to look at the autopsy now for what Bella and Cece were wearing. This channel has done quite a lot to do with this autopsy and the understanding that these children were dumped in oil that could have got to boiling temperature in the daytime because they're in vacuumed, sealed units with the sun beating down on them and all that, right? So basically we know what was happening. They were reporting their skin was coming off, but anyway, as you can see, with all that, and they had to put pools of oil and all this, basically they came in unsealed body bags. And when you have a look there, it says an oil-soaked pink pyjama type top with images of hearts and butterflies, a pair of oil-soaked underwear. Okay, now that's not what the babysitter says. She does say hearts, she says stars. They had stars on them. So the clothing here, just to show you that this is CC, there's CC's. It says here, received in an unsealed bag. Considering what happened to them, they'd have been in a sealed bag, especially as they went in those coffins sealed up. Anyway, the clothing, a pink and black t-shirt, a diaper, a pair of underwear. Right, so we're going to go back to the interview now to hear what she said about the description of what the children were wearing.
So Shanann knew you were there because Chris told her, or did you tell her?
I think Chris told her.
Okay. So how did Chris leave the house? Well, so did he run you through these instructions? Did Chris ever text you?
No. And was texting me and she was like, "Are the girls okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, they're fine."
So Shanann knew you were there too?
Yes, she called me.
Did Chris ever text you?
No.
So Shanann knew you were there because Chris told her, or did you tell her?
I think Chris told her.
Okay. So how did Chris leave the house? Well, so did he run you through these instructions? Do you recall what the girls were wearing?
Yes, they were wearing 2 nightgowns, and actually a police officer came over today and they had pictures and they told me to pick out which ones they were wearing.
So they went through that with you. And can you just describe them, what they were wearing, if you remember?
They were 2 nightgowns, and I think one was blue, and they just had like little kid like stars. And
so they went through that with you. And can you just describe them, what they were wearing, if you remember?
They were 2 nightgowns, and I think one was blue, and they just had like little kid like stars and hearts and sparkles and stuff on them.
Okay.
And I think the other one was like a peach color.
Okay. You remember what was on that one?
What's that?
Do you remember what was on that one?
They were kind of similar. It's still like the stars and the hearts. And
Okay.
I have a picture of what Cece was wearing.
Did you take a picture of her that night?
Chris took the picture, I'm pretty sure.
On your phone?
No, he posted it on Facebook, or Shanann posted it, because he was sending them pictures of the girls when she was checking in on them.
How did Celeste was wearing the night that you babysat for them? So is that, do you think that's prior? What time did you babysit? You got there at 4:30?
Yeah.
When did you leave?
Around 10:30.
Were the kids sleeping?
Yes. So I'm guessing that was before I came because it's light.
Yes, at the end of this there's a bit of confusion here, because obviously we can see what they were wearing supposedly in the autopsy, and this doesn't match the pictures that she's picked out that they were wearing, and that's what that officer's going through, and he's asking, well, did Chris take those photographs? Because obviously what she's saying doesn't match up to the autopsy. Got that far yet to the autopsy? By the way, this obviously is done days later, but he wants to know who put the pictures on and all that. But as you can see, there we can see that Cece has a peachy or pink top, but it's got blue on it, or green, and I'm absolutely sure that the autopsy would say that she had a 2-tone top on, blue and pink or peach, whichever colour you want. So again, just more anomalies from what she's saying. Yeah, but it's not blue, is it? I mean, that could be peach or pink with sort of greeny sleeves, but it would say that in the autopsy if that's what she was wearing. This is supposed to be the t-shirt. And don't forget, the babysitter said nightgowns and the autopsy said tops. She says which one's wearing what, so that picture then that's supposed to have gone out on Facebook, I know the story. The story is that he sent those from earlier on. He just had a couple of pictures. Yeah, that'll keep her quiet. Dunk, sent them off. That's what that's about. But yeah, actually, to be honest, he's trying to gather information there, but they haven't found the bodies yet. So the autopsy comes afterwards. But anyway, just loads of anomalies, everybody.